when women see a man cry or emote, they lose respect for that man. Do you believe that's true?
To an extent, it's a lot harder for us to see the stronger one fall apart.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't talk to your woman at all.
Okay.
Right? I just want to say don't go and be vulnerable with everybody. You know what I'm saying? You have to be secure in understanding the type of person you're being vulnerable with, because a lot of guys will tell you, like, he tried to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And then it either was brought back up at a later time.
Correct.
Or it was told, that's what's bothering you.
Yeah, they didn't handle it well.
Right, and so then it's just like...
Bitch, why I would tell you?
Exactly.
Yeah. I have to be honest with myself, too. And there is a certain expression from men that does make me be like, it does, but being vulnerable, being open and honest and all that stuff, and crying, I've seen that done and not lose an ounce of respect for a guy. There's a difference to me between vulnerability, being emotional, and being sensitive. And I don't think any of them excuses you from doing what you need to do. Sometime during our last episode or whatever, you had mentioned you're gone on this thing about women are hypergamous.
Yes.
And then it got into why men shouldn't share their emotions. And I'm not sure if is it particular to sharing emotions or is it crying?
Well, it's so funny because after that video post, my sister actually hit me up and she was like, what? And what I was trying to explain is, from my experience and just things that I've seen, right? It's when you're to be the stronger one in the situation, it's a lot harder for us to see the stronger one fall apart.
Yeah.
Right? And so I even attribute this to me and my line brothers, right?
Yeah.
We have one who, he is clearly a lot bigger than the rest of us. He stands bigger.
Yeah.
And one day, he had he just kind of... Fell out. And when I say, like...
You looked at him different?
For the rest, for the rest of us, we were just like, bro, if that's the anchor... Like, what does that mean for the rest of us?
We ain't gonna make it.
Right. And so I just feel like, to an extent, I'm not saying you can't talk to your woman at all.
Okay.
Right? Or when you guys develop a certain type of environment to where you feel like you can be vulnerable, I just want to say don't go and be vulnerable with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You have to be secure in understanding the type of person you're being vulnerable with, because a lot of guys will tell you, like, he tried to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And then it either was brought back up at a later time.
Correct.
Or it was told, that's what's bothering you.
Yeah, they didn't handle it well.
Right, and so then it's just like...
Bitch, why I ever told you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. But the TikTok that you sent, basically they were saying, he said specifically, don't ever cry in front of your woman. Like, if you need to, or sharing emotions, if you need to, do that with your homeboy, your sister, your father, somebody else, but not your woman that you are romantically involved with. But in that video, they also talked about when women see a man cry or emote, I don't know what the extent is, they lose respect for that man. Do you believe that's true?
To an extent, and that was China from the Just Pearly Things podcast. Give a quick shout out.
Because I don't know who the hell it was. Great.
But I do believe that to an extent, just kind of like we were saying, if you are to be the strong one and you're falling apart over something that I perceive isn't that big a deal, then are you really the strong one in my eyes? And so I feel like a lot of times that's what happens. They're like, you might have been carrying a whole lot, right? And, you know, as guys, we tend to not share, so we tend to carry a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so you get a flat tire, and that's just it, and then you just lose it.
Yeah.
And it's not even about the flat tire, but it's just a culmination of everything. But all you see is, boy, you got over a flat tire. Don't you got AAA?
Yeah.
Can't we just fix this real quick?
Yeah.
Just buy a new one. And so then it is, well, if that's how you reacted, then it's kind of like, and so we get that a lot.
I hear that all the time, and I know I am absolutely certain that in my day I have responded terribly to a nigga trying to share his feelings. Probably my ex, but in some other exes too, though. And I get it. It sucks to tell somebody a thing that you are insecure about, or something that makes you feel some type of way, and they're like, "That's it." It doesn't feel good, but I think it's kind of like men just haven't been taught how to do that. Like men be looking at us like, "Oh God, here she go again." Every time we open our goddamn mouth, the infamous "Can we talk?" Like it's literally us saying, I want to share something with you. I want you to hear me. And what do we get most of the time? Dismissed. It's literally a thing when you hear a woman say, "Can we talk?" Instead, that should be more along the lines of what I think men should be doing as well. But the key to it is they gonna react how they react. It's not about how they react. If we were to say we're never gonna share ourselves because a man ain't receiving that shit well, we be just as bottled up as y'all. Like, I think the goal is less about are they going to react the way we want them to react, and more about are they the person that we need, you know? Like, because I think it's still vital to, if you can't share those things about yourself, then I don't know how the relationship actually works. Because it's not about, I'm not sharing it with you just because I want to tell you my deepest, darkest secrets. I'm sharing it with you because I need the person that I'm this close with to understand how I'm being driven, to understand what makes me tick, to understand where my weaknesses are, like, because otherwise how can you really help me or partner with me when you don't even know, like, what's really in my closet? Like, I feel like there's a level of partnership that comes from understanding that person fully. I feel like you want to say something.
I do, but I definitely agree with what you're saying, that there should be a foundation to where we can freely communicate. I just also think for us as men, it's a little different, right?
I believe that.
Because no one person in our lives services all of everything. Right?
Correct.
And so it comes down to that. A lot of times when you get into a relationship, like, you become every person to your significant other, which is
unrealistic,
which is very
right.
And then it's the emphasis on putting on the conversation, right? Because if let's say, right, me and my girl are having an issue, and I go over to my homeboy house, and we do this all the time. We sitting on the couch, we watching the game, and something might happen, and I'll be like, boy, this girl's stressing me out. Yeah. So the conversation just starts. Now we go into it. And then we talk about how we can get to a solution or what a way to go. Yeah. But when it's, hey man, I need to talk to you. Now it's like, oh.
Okay. So yes.
Did somebody die? Is it like, what's going on?
The can we talk is a bit dramatic.
Right.
And I don't know that, I'm trying to think back, do I do that in real life?
People do it.
I don't know. I think I definitely do it. There's sometimes that you have to, like, because sometimes you have to have that conversation and there ain't no way to ease.
But if you can't have it right then and there, so what are you doing but creating anxiety? Because I ain't
Why are you anxious? Because you don't know how to communicate?
No, because it's just like, if my mom called me and was like, boy, I got something to tell you, and the phone went dead, I'm going to be like, and essentially that's what it is. It's like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. But we can't have this conversation for 6 hours.
Oh, no, I don't do that.
I'm just saying.
No, I want to have it immediately, but if you telling me we gotta wait, then I can wait.
No, we can have it right then and there. If you tell me we gotta talk, we talking. Okay, what's up?
Facts. I'm with that. It's a weird thing, and it's unfortunate that sometimes there is no way to ease into it, like, naturally. Sometimes this shit just ain't coming up in conversation, But I know for me, like, I can't just sit on it forever. Because the sitting on it is dangerous for certain people. Some people need the time to process. Mm-hmm. For me, that processing is stewing. I'm stewing and I'm coming up with all your answers on behalf of you. Like, I'm just not that type of person. I need to get it out so that I'm not coming up with what you're actually thinking. I need to put it out. But I also, my mind moves faster where I can, like, in real time, say what I'm thinking and process at the same time. So I understand and I'm cool with everybody not being that way. But I'm going to put it out there, hey, this, and I'll even preface it, say, like, this is how I'm feeling or this is on my mind. Take some time and let me know when you can discuss that. So I never like to, I'm not trying to leave no cliffhangers or make somebody feel like they're being ambushed at the end of the day. But as far as, like, men, like, seeming like they're weak or something, like, how do you feel about those terms of vulnerability and sensitive and emotional? Or
so if I'm gonna be honest, like, for a long time, like, that wasn't how I was trying to be perceived.
Facts. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, I get it.
I wasn't trying to be sensitive, vulnerable, any perception of weakness.
Yeah.
Whatever that could be, because it varies.
Yeah.
From person to person. But I would say that what I've learned is the key is more so transparency than any of those. Because if I'm if I live a transparent life, right, I'm always in a state of vulnerability because I can have that conversation.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Or, yeah that happened to me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so it's understanding that, you know, I can't change what happened, so it is.
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of, even in, like, talks, you know what I'm saying, with each other, sometimes you still be on that, nah, that can't happen to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because in your eyes, that's kind of weak.
Right.
And so.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, because this, you know, vulnerability has been a, you know, buzzword, whatever, overly used kind of thing for a long time. But, I was watching, I think it was Shambuti, maybe. But either way, the podcast was talking about men and vulnerability. And I have to be honest with myself, too. And there is a certain expression from men that does make me be like, oh. It does, but it's not like, this is what I think it is. I think that there's a difference to me between vulnerability, being emotional, and being sensitive. And I don't think any of them excuses you from doing what you need to do. So what I think vulnerability to me is just being open and honest about how you feel. Like you said, transparent. Being emotional to me is somebody that kind of talks about, I mean, we all have emotions. The expression of being emotional, like somebody that's talking about their feelings all the time or whatever.
Okay.
That's something that I can stand to a point because I myself am not overly emotional outwardly. So it's just a dynamic that I don't really jive with as well. Sensitive, everything bothers you. Like, everything hurts. Everything hurts. I can't get with that at all. That is very difficult for me to deal with. But I don't think it's specific to men or women. Like, if it's a woman that's like that, I'm just as annoyed. Like, I just don't want to be interacting with you, period. But I don't think that, I think that being vulnerable, being open and honest and all that stuff, and crying, I think that there is a way, like, I've seen that done and not lose an ounce of respect for a guy or feel like they are less masculine in any way. It's about how you respond to that. If you, like, frustrate, like, your car broke down now, and that's like the straw that broke the camel's back, you upset, you pissed, I'm here for it. As long as it doesn't make you like, fuck the world, I'm giving up. Like, as long as I see you say, this is what's going on, and then when you cool off, you handle
But what business. If in that moment, right, because it was a straw.
Yeah.
They just had a momentary, you know what, for real though, I do give up. Like, this was just it in that moment. I think. So then what happens?
As long as it is like, so, because I think my ex was like this in many ways, and I am okay when I understand, like, you just need time. As long as you're not actually making moves. Like, don't go out there, quit nothing. Like, don't.
I feel you.
If you're not taking action and you just expressing, I get that you're venting to me. I get that you're in the heat of the moment. I'm okay with that. as long as when push comes to shove, you get up and do what you need to do. I'm okay with that. No. I'm going to be that too. And I think that gives us, it's almost like when we as kids didn't see our parents ever struggle. They don't share that with us.
They were the superheroes.
They don't apologize. They don't do nothing that, like, they don't have emotion. They are just perfect human beings. That's it. So as much as I understand the desire to not show your child, like to want to protect your child by not showing them that, it handicaps our relationship in a way, because it makes us, it's very difficult to see you as human and relatable.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing happens in our relationship. Is like, I think we lose out on the ability to like connect with that person and see that they're really going through. And we were talking about this a long time ago. We were talking about the, what's it called? We Cry Together song by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
So I think that so many things that men go through are not communicated to the woman, and so many things that vice versa. We don't communicate our daily struggles because we feel like it's not the other person's business. They don't understand, or whatever the reason is, we don't communicate it. And then when it starts to pile up, we're upset. We blow up. So you're talking about at the end of the day, like your car broke down and you had been doing all this stuff that just men just got to do. Period. You're holding up the weight of the world on your shoulders by yourself, and she like, that's it,
right?
Because none of that other stuff is really like expressed to women. And I said before, like, I didn't understand the gravity of what a man felt just being fucking head of household until now. Like, having to, and I'm guessing single moms all over the world understand that, but it's like, y'all have that inherently no matter what. I don't want no parts of this shit. And it's not even that I'm not getting up, going to work, taking care of business,
right?
But the feeling of everybody depending on you, and if you have a bad day at work, you gotta suck that shit up. Even though I know I'm not gonna walk to my job and quit it just because I'm having a bad day, it's a different level of pressure that men experience just inherently from society. That's just what's expected from, yay high. The fact that I didn't realize, I'm 33, and I only realized that after getting like divorced, like, and having a baby, like,
yeah.
I feel like there's no reason that I should not have known that even my ex was going through or felt that. Not to say that it's an easy thing to communicate, but I think it's to our benefit to be more expressive about what we're dealing with while we're still dealing with it. Like showing that, yes, this is all on me and I'm doing it, but it's hard, but I'm doing it. Like, I think that would give us a lot more like respect and appreciation and understand. I understand a little bit more why when you come home, you're like, I just don't, please. Please.
Like 10 minutes.
Please.
It's funny because as a kid, my dad had an everyday routine. When he came home from work, let's say he got home at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
We did not see that man until 6 o'clock.
Yeah, my dad's.
We did not. And as a kid, you're like, bro, like,
hello.
You ain't like, what's
you ain't
up?
never here.
But when he come out, he's there. But it's just like not knowing that, like, his boss could have been talking to him crazy all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially this is like early 90s, so being a black man, a foreigner, his boss really could have been talking to him crazy all day, and then he got to come home and deal with his complaining kids. Not to say he was always, but you know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, if you're there, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's too much. I like
and
it.
so it's just like...
Yeah, and it's a long day, too. Even if everything is going right, it's still hard.
Right.
Just going and working and providing, it's a lot. Whether you're working for yourself or working for somebody else, it's a lot.
I would say one of the reasons that I think that it's not articulated, because it's like, even just telling you you're going to take something up, not saying,
right, I know what you mean. Like,
what's
the point of saying it if you're
I'm going to tell you, and then what? You're going to be like,
I'll take that for you.
Because you're not. Because you're going to be like, you already have so much that you're already dealing with on top of, so it's just like, I'm going to add to what you worry and stress about.
And I don't think that every woman, that's another key thing. Not every woman is built to receive it. And so you do have to maybe the dynamic of your relationship is y'all keep that stuff separate. I think it does need to be judged, but you need to understand what that means if you're keeping it separate. Mm-hmm. Meaning that if I come across a man that is not willing to open up on those things, I have to decide whether or not that's the relationship that I'm okay with being in. Because that means that there's a level that we're not going to connect on. And every relationship isn't going to meet every, standard, So maybe that's okay. Especially if y'all are more of a lighthearted couple, y'all don't want to get into that and that works for you. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But I feel like if you're a man that's dealing with the weight of the world and feels it and gets frustrated when your girl is like, that's all, then you might be one that needs to be more open about those things. Or if she's not the one. Because I don't think that it's an excuse for not loving her in the way that she needs to be. If she needs to feel that kind of connection, needs you to open up to her and talk to her or whatever, and you're holding back because you don't want her. You have to understand, if you're holding this back, is it causing pain or strife elsewhere in your relationship, And
I always find conversation like this very interesting, because when I hear it, right, this is what it sounds like to me. Boy, he could have 8 things that he does amazing out of the 10 that I want, but he can't, 9 and 10, he not there. So I'm just gonna be like, you know what, I'm finna dash away with him because I can't get 10 out of 10. And it's realistically, at least for our perspective, we were like, ain't nobody gonna give us 10 out of 10. Right. So it's just all right, boom, she's cute, you know what I'm saying, she's friendly, she can't cook, I know how to cook, mama show me some recipes, maybe I can teach her something, boom. It ain't no pressure, all that stuff. But it just be like, oh, well, man, I can't connect with him because he doesn't let me know all the things that he goes through, even though he provides a wonderful home. He's loving. He brings me flowers. I love flowers.
Boy, stop.
And it's nah, I'm going to get away. I'm going to just, and I think that is wild, because I hear that often.
I hear what you're saying, and by no means am I trying to communicate that, because like I said, not every relationship is going to meet everything. Mm-hmm. You got to figure out what's important to y'all relationship. It might be okay. It might be the thing that y'all just got to deal with. I don't know, I think when I was reading last time, it was something that most of the relationship struggles that a couple goes through is the same one. You're going to deal with the same thing over, and that might be the hill that y'all die on every other week, every other month. And that's okay. You just have to understand what it is for you, what means a lot to you. For me, at this point, I can't say that specific thing is important, but being able to communicate whatever you're dealing with, if you got it, great.
Right.
Don't pop off at me because of something that is happening that you're not willing to share with me. We're going to go toe to toe on that forever.
Well, I'm going to just say, for me, things that I have incorporated, is I'll have check-ins, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To where, okay, whenever good or bad, let's check in. You know what I'm saying? Everything's straight.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get into a place of monotony where everything is just consistent.
Yeah.
And so so that takes away the pressure of, if there's something you need to talk about, just, hey, holla, let's check in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or another thing that I'll do is, because you gotta learn from your past mistakes, I'm one of those people, I'm not gonna tell you everything that I'm dealing with, because you're not gonna give me no answer. I'm not saying that you can't, but why am I gonna pile on when I've already heard all that you're taking on, right? So I'll say, all right, I'm a 4. That's what I'm carrying. 4 out of 10. I'm a 4. I'm at a 4.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? When I'm stressed, I might be at an 8.
That's a great idea. I feel like you could say that, if you say you're carrying, an 8, and then depending on what your partner is if your partner's at an 8 or a 10, then maybe this ain't the thing that we offload on each other. But if your partner's at a 2, go on, tell me what you're going through.
Right. And so that just allows an opportunity, even if I don't want to talk about it in that instant.
That's a great idea.
Hey,
I'm stressed.
Right. It looks wonderful.
Yeah.
But like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
But I will say, like, I think of it kind of almost like we are as, like, Christians. We ain't never gonna get there, but that doesn't mean we forsake the effort. Like, this is, like, what we want to get to. Because I think that it just makes, out of all the list of things that a guy can be great at, communication.
I just, even I hear that, but I just, because we don't communicate the same, it'll never work, because we are always going to be brutally honest.
I don't think that that's true. I believe it would be brutally honest, but I do believe it will work. I think it works, but even if you don't agree or understand, even if I don't agree with half the shit you say, understanding where you're coming from, like your perspective, it makes the world a difference as opposed to just shutting me out. Because then I'm like, but why? Like, my mind will never stop without you giving input on where you're coming from. You know, like, and that's just my own.
The only reason why I say that is, even to the one video that you did, to where you were kind of like, I don't always agree with the Andrew Tates and the Kevin Samuels, but there's certain times when I can hear something and be like, that. But the way that they say it make it so, you know, and so then it's just naturally, we all talk to each other like that. The way that Kevin Samuels projects his message, the way that guys, we talk to each other like that. And we talk to more of us on a regular. So then it's like, hey, we really can't articulate the way that we want to. Because it won't be received. Because now it's...
You got to put the headboard and the footboard, and you got to have all this extra shit. For us to accept.
And so then it gets into... I don't know how to say that. Because it's not that I don't know how to say that. It's... I can't talk to you like you, because we don't...
I don't talk like you. I don't speak that language.
And so that's...
This is enlightening. That's great.
And that's what it be. Because a lot of times it be like, I know exactly what I want to say.
But if I say, bitch, you stupid,
I'm going to be on the couch. I'm going to be on the couch. Because it's like, no. That you wanting to put soap on the floor and make it into an action, that's dumb. But if I tell you that's dumb, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't support you. How could you say this to me? But it's just like, okay, but now I know if you slip and fall, now you got to get stitches. I'm going to be looking at you like...
Yeah. See, you know the crazy part though, and I will say, disclaimer, I live in this fantasy of wanting everybody to be their best selves. And I think we have so much to contribute to each other. And so I am a big fan, just like you talked about the check-ins, of safe words. Safe words means I'm about to speak freely. Go ahead, let's go ahead and pray before we do this so that you are filled and can receive what I'm saying and not what you are hearing, kind of thing. Because I think that we would benefit from niggas talking to us that, not crazy, but just saying it plainly.
Yeah,
but
100%.
But you have to know that you're in a safe space. That's the purpose of the safe word. All right, listen. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to hurt you. I want you to know that I love you in this moment before I say these words. And then say, cultivate. To me, that's the goal. That is the goal, to be able to have those moments where you say, and then you're still in tune with each other throughout the process of that conversation. If you get too like, okay, all right, let's go ahead and jump out of this. I can't take no more.
Pause it. Time out.
I'm going to have to. Exactly. Because I think that that's great. And just hearing that, it makes a lot of sense why it's so difficult. Because it's like, I don't want to go through that much work just to say what I already have. It's locked and loaded right here. I would love to just fire. But I can't because, feelings and shit and all that stuff. So.
And I'll give you an example. Just in my last relationship, right? We had gotten comfortable. And when you get comfortable, you tend to get out your relationship.
Get in trouble.
Your relationship weight. And so both of us had...
Oh, that kind of... Yeah.
And so I, understanding how you can communicate, I can't be like, boy, we getting fat. So I just say, hey, you think, let's...
Every time you say, hey, some bullshit comes behind it. Go ahead.
I was like, I think we should try and eat a little bit healthier. Maybe even go on some walks, Let's take care of our health. And you know what I was met with?
What?
Guess.
Yeah, frustration.
Are you calling me fat?
Because you were, but you were calling yourself fat too.
Right. In my head, I want to be like, we are fat. 100%. Yes. We have gotten to a point where we're not what we were. But then it was just like, no, I literally said, can we eat better and go for some walk?
Yeah.
But it wasn't met. And so now you can't hear what I'm saying. It's what you said, how it made me feel.
Yeah. Feelings are a bitch. I'm glad I don't have any. Nah, but we tend to be more emotional than men. And like I said, not everybody is built for this, but not everybody is built for an ideal relationship. I would love one though. And so for me, it is my dying mission to get as close to it as I possibly can. So even in that instance, I know that I'm the type that if you say something, I usually can process things through logic, but I definitely have emotions that are there, and I don't always know how to process them first. But it'll be something where I'm like, fuck you. But all right, what we doing? Kind of thing, right. You know? But I'm bothered, but I know that me being bothered is irrational, is just like whatever I'm feeling. So I'm still gonna listen to you, but you might not know that I'm listening to you until like the next day when I'm actually doing what you said, right, with an attitude. But I'm doing it because I know that I'm tripping, kind of thing. But my goal is to get to the place where I can recognize that I'm tripping and give you the credit that you deserve in that moment, and save the rest of the bullshit for another time. Be like, I hear you. I don't like the way that felt.
But
I'm getting locked up.
It might make some sense, so let's
Right. And I think that it's like you have to recognize where your relationship is and where you're trying to go. And I think a lot of women, I don't say respond, but there's a way that a guy can... It's work, yes. But there's a way that we can take what you're giving when we feel like you actually hear us and are trying to get our best in. Because we know we be tripping. A lot of women know they be tripping. You know,
Well, they admit it.
I think it's about the way that you carry things. And that maybe... I don't know if I can put that all on the guy or not. But I still think a guy should work to get to that. Like, to me, that's where that real leadership comes in. Like, hey, I know that you feel some type of way right now. I need you to try to put those feelings to the side just for this 1 minute and hear what I'm saying, because I love you, because I care for you, and because I want the best for you. That kind of shit. I can't say, I'm not a man to say that actually works with women, but I would think that that's kind of what we want to hear. Like, don't talk to us crazy when you say, talk to us nice before you talk to us crazy. So we know that you still, like, value us, love us. And then throw
some nice at the end.
Correct. Sandwich it, nice sandwich.
I definitely agree. And that's something that I've learned, and that's why those are things that I have since from my last relationship. When I meet people and so we talk, I do, hey, let's check in. Let's have these moments and times where if there's anything that's going well, or let me know, or hey, I might need a moment. Yeah. You can sit here. I'm not going to talk to you. Yeah. I'm in a mood. I'm going to get over it eventually. Then maybe we can talk about it. If you want to sit, you can sit. Yeah. I don't need you to try and fix nothing. Yeah. And so this is how you establish it, so that way as you move forward, because trying to do it on the fly. Yeah. Then that's when you have to deal with, well, why didn't you not wanting to talk to me made me feel a way? So then it's like we can't really, now it's added on top of. When you're able to say why you're feeling and not put it on the other person, it can really disarm a person. You know, like being able to say like, I'm really in my feelings right now. So I can't talk to you in the way that I need to talk to you to have this conversation. I just need you to give me a day to cool off and we can come back to this. And then if that person takes it and says, okay, I respect that, you cool off so much faster. Yeah. Like, dang, I'm over here being an ass, you know? Or if you actually need the time, you take the time. But I feel like just being able to communicate that, and instead of the person running off thinking that they did, that's what it is. Like, we're just making our own conclusions about bullshit, and it's all heated and in the moment, and then just making a situation way bigger than it needs to be just because and I know it's hard to communicate in that moment. You don't need to communicate about the argument, but communicate about where you are at that moment. And I think that can go a long way. And it has in my past, at least.
All right. So when you're talking about venting to someone else, who do you vent to typically, and how does that interaction go when it's not your significant other?
Me, if I'm in the middle of something that is really like kicking my ass, I'm probably gonna end up on like my partner couch, or like a sibling. If I'm gonna be honest, that's if it's currently a fight that I feel like I'm losing, or I'm not thinking that I have the proper solution, that's what I'm gonna do. If it's something that happened, I might have had the time to think through it, process it, then I might, articulate, hey, to whoever it is, hey, this is what happened. This is what, last week Tuesday when I was kind of, I was dealing with this at work. It was, we got to the end of it, and I just wanted to let you know what I'm saying? That's typically how I would do it. Yeah. Currently.
I know. The frustrating part is that whole week, while you was feeling some type of way about something, gave her all the chances to think that it was her doing something wrong. That you have disconnected, you have disengaged. Did I do something?
But see, my only response to that would be typically, right, it goes back to how I was giving that 8 out of 10, right? So let's say I don't want to talk about this right now. I'm the type of person who will say, I don't want to talk about this. But nothing else, my interactions with you,
everything is the same.
It's the same. But I will say there has been times in the past where there's still carryover until I can be like, hey, this is what it was.
Right.
But then it's just like, that is still anybody else, that would be sufficient communication. Hey.
Yeah, if you're saying, like, I can't talk about this, that's what I'm saying. If you're saying that, that's fine.
Okay.
I think saying, hey, I'm going, even if you say, like, I'm at an 8 right now, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going through something. As long as you're saying, hey, I'm going through something, hey, it's not because of you, then I think you've done your job.
Maybe it is because of you, though.
If it is because of them, then I feel like at least saying, I felt some type of way because of this. I can't talk about it right now because I need to process or whatever you need to do. I think that's fair.
I hear you. I just think if it's me, I'm gonna cut out the you did something until I can talk about it with you. Because I just don't think at any point in time you should leave people
hanging.
Right, and that's what it is.
I think you can tell them
you did something, because now I'm racking my brain up. What could I have possibly done?
I agree, because I'm usually on the receiving end of that, because I'm ready to talk right now, kind of thing. And it does suck when you hear like, this situation bothered me. I'm like, well, why did it bother you? Because of this, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have all the rebuttals of why.
Everything, rather than hearing.
Right. So I agree. I understand, like, not wanting to tell them that right then. It's like either you lie and tell them it's not because of you, but like either way you're holding them captive if you're not. If you just tell them, I'm going through something, I'm upset. Most of the time, y'all are not that crafty to the point where we don't know that you're upset about a specific situation. Unless unless we are completely caught off guard, like, that bothered you? But most of the time it's like your behavior changes after an event. You know? We are in tune with that. That is how we're built to see those things happen.
Yeah, you would know that and don't be like, hey, I know I did this and it bothered you.
Because sometimes we be feeling y'all are wrong.
Well, then
I know this bothered you, but you ain't got no business being bothered by it, kind of thing. Or
how many times have we thought that?
I mean, that's just part of it. That's just how it's gonna go. I mean, but we still know that we know that this situation affected you, but usually we got our own side of the coin to share. Like, we upset too. So it's not like you in this by yourself. We're upset too.
But upset because I'm upset, not because you generally was upset first.
Whoa. Where did you pull that from? Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes we're upset that you're upset about this. Like, you have no business or right to be upset. Or we're dealing with this our own. Usually it's something that happened as a response to something else.
And that just goes back to my original, like, this is one of the reasons why I would not...
No excuse.
Because how are you going to tell me, because I couldn't tell you, you have no right to be upset about that.
It's the rest of the context. You do. You have the same right.
But just now in your explanation, you were like, sometimes it's because we feel you don't have any right, so we're going to be like, you're wrong.
This is a case of the different languages speaking. So when I'm saying you don't have a right, it's not like you don't have a right to feel how you feel. Mm-hmm. You're missing this other part of what you did to cause this to happen. That's all. Like, all right, you're upset that I yelled at you, but you're missing the part that I yelled at you because you stepped on my toe. That kind of thing. Like,
did I know? Then you could have just been like, hey, it's like we have, in our culture, we have like sayings and certain things that we'll say to either, not to yell, but we'll be like, it's ground so soft. And you'd be like, what is that? Like, is the ground so soft? No, it's not, but you're standing on my foot. Right? So,
I'd be so annoyed, like, bitch, I don't want to do a whole damn riddle. Just tell me I stepped on your toe.
But no, like, a lot of times instantly, like, my fault, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, but I'm mad because why are you yelling at me? Did I know I stepped on your foot? No, I could have easily apologized. But now you want to get disrespectful because you feel like a certain type of way. Where it genuinely could have been, I got big feet. Dang, I didn't see you down there. My bad.
Sure.
And a lot of times that'll happen. Oh, you want me to rub your feet, get you some ice? But now you hollering at me.
That's a discussion to have. But the scenario is, I'm responding to something that you did. You glossed over the fact that you did something to make me react a certain way and are only thinking about what happened to you. So yeah, we can both come to the table, but know that you're not the only one that's loaded with ammunition. Like, I'm not the only one that's bad in this situation. You did something to make me respond this way, kind of thing.
I hear that. I did something to make you do something.
Sure. I mean, you can say how you want. The same way that you're coming at me because I did something that would cause you to react this way. May not be the right word, but it's causing a reaction. You're reacting to something I did the same way I reacted to something you did. Even playing field, we're just responding at different times. You missed the fact that mine was a reaction, and I'm catching your reaction.
Okay.
It's all just everybody offended about some bullshit. Like, either way, it's not like it's just your offense happened this time, my offense happened this time. It's all offense, you know. We want to be heard and understood and acknowledged and just not dismissed. But
all right, so hold that thought. And brief disclaimer for those of you watching, yes, I am sitting here before you in pajamas and barefaced because it is nighttime. And the only reason I'm here is because I was listening back to this and I didn't want to put this out without sharing this new perspective that I've had on this situation. As a matter of fact, it's a perspective I've learned in recent months that I am here forgetting in real time. But I want to share with you guys my growth as it's happening. So this interaction that I just had with Kimoy is a situation that I have dealt with in my prior relationships that only recently I've come to be able to see it in a different light. And now I'm like, oh, baby, let's not do that anymore, you know? And so what's happening is there was a situation that I was offended by, hurt by, and instead of taking the time to recognize my own offense or feelings, I responded, I reacted, I do what I honestly typically do, and that is I take care of myself, you know? So if someone hurts me, I respond and make sure that they don't have the opportunity to hurt me again. So either that's fighting fire with fire or Xing the person out altogether. Usually it's not a healthy way to respond in a relationship that you intend to keep, but it's kind of a coping mechanism, you know? So for instance, if somebody hurts my feelings, either I'm going to hurt their feelings back, or I'm going to walk the fuck away and never deal with that person again, kind of thing. It's self-preservation. Defense mechanism, coping mechanism, self-preservation, all those are the same thing, just ways of dealing with something that is unpleasant, to preserve my own emotional state. And so what that does then is now the other person is now hurt by whatever reaction I just had. Now, although my reaction might be quote unquote warranted, it is not helpful. In my mind, I think when I'm doing that, I'm taking care of the situation. I tend to not require another person to have power over my emotional state, or at least in my mind, that's what I'm doing, by taking care of it. All right, I've solved it. I've hurt them back. I'm okay now. I've solved it. I've gotten away from them. I'm okay now. So that's what you do when you can't have a dialogue with somebody, maybe with someone that you're not close with, someone that maybe the relationship isn't healthy enough to have that dialogue. But when it's a relationship that you're looking to keep, to preserve, and to grow, that dialogue is necessary. And I'm recognizing that I need to stop before I have that quote unquote reaction and say, hey, that hurt. That's the time for my safe word. The same way that I guess in this situation, Kimoy would be coming after, he stepped on my toe and then I yelled at him and now he's hurt and he's saying, I felt some type of way that you yelled at me. That is exactly what I should have done when he stepped on my toe. Essentially, I should have said, hey, that hurt. Ouch. And now we have a chance to address my feelings, because otherwise what I'm doing now is I'm taking his platform that he's responsibly taken to address his feelings and stealing it from myself because I missed my chance. And now I feel like my feelings are being dismissed. When they're not being dismissed, they were never shared. So they didn't have a chance to dismiss them. Maybe they knew about the situation, maybe they didn't, but it's my job to make sure that, hey, these are my feelings and I need to voice them to make sure that you know. If you did know, great. If you didn't know, now you do. In much the same way that he's coming or taking the time to feel his feels and address the yelling that I did after he stepped on my toe. And so in this situation, I'm sure I'm not the only one that kind of takes matters into their own hands and tries to regulate their emotions by way of reacting. It's kind of I think it's just this is me thinking through this. I don't want to give the person the power to decide whether or not I am okay after the situation. Meaning, when I take the time to say, ouch, that hurt, I'm looking for compassion. I'm looking for a response, maybe an apology, something that would release me to feel that my feelings were, that they made amends, that there was justice in that situation. And if I just react, then I basically take justice into my own hands. Instead of having to wait for somebody to come and save me, I'm saving myself, which is maybe, I don't know if it's a common trope of a strong woman or a strong person in any case, just trying to not offload their peace, happiness, justice onto someone else. It's also a function, I think, of control. I don't want somebody to have that kind of power over me. But in the dynamic of a relationship, it becomes imperative that we do allow ourselves to be vulnerable in that way. I think I said this to Kimoy maybe earlier this episode or in recent episode. I too have an issue sharing my weaknesses in real time when I don't believe that the person can offer a solution. I tend to keep what I'm going through to myself while I'm processing and trying to find a way out and find a solution, solve the problem. And I tend to then voice things after the fact, after I've gotten to a place of comfort, after I have figured out said problem. But I've learned this mostly through friendships. You rob that relationship of a level of intimacy when you hold all that back to yourself. You basically tell the person that you don't have any struggles, you don't have any issues, everything is always fine. It's very difficult to relate to someone like that. It's very difficult to feel as though you can be open and honest and vulnerable with somebody that never feels any pain, never feels any strife, you know? And so these days I go out of my way to make my struggles kind of known to my close friends so that they understand that I'm human too. And it also opens the door for them to be human around me and not feel as though I can't relate or understand or connect with what they might be going through. So in much the same way with a partner, instead of responding with that hard shell reaction of fighting fire with fire, be vulnerable, open up and say, hey, that hurt me. I'm human. All right, back to the episode. All right.
I'm trying to understand because it's if we know that everyone plays a different role, that no one person can play every role in somebody's life. It's just not even like parent wise. No one person can play every role. It's how can you correlate that not being your role as to there are different levels of relationship. Because a lot of times a guy will tell you his girl is his number one relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Because she knows him on the most intimate level, like, you know what I'm saying, genuinely. But just because I understand there's ways that I go about my process, and this one doesn't necessarily involve you. Because there's a lot of times, like for me, whenever I had a new creative idea, the first person I talked to was whoever was in my life at that time. Like when I was in my relationship. Correct. That was the first person. I'm not going to go to my partner and be like, oh, I got this idea for this brand that I'm about to launch. Right. I'm not. Right. I'm going to sit at the house and I'm going to be like,
you're the person that I want to share with.
Right. Mm-hmm. In the same sense that, but he's not going to feel slighted because I'm not being like, oh, I had this.
That's the key. That's what it is. No, I get it, and not everybody's supposed to be everything, but your significant other, that is a bond like nobody else in your life. People that have been there longer don't have the bond that your significant other has because there is an intimacy that unites that bond. And I think it's something especially if you are like truly doing life with this person, like finances tied together, all this stuff, that person is most impacted by everything you do. Your flaws, your successes, your failures, everything. Correct. And so I feel like even if you need to know where that person's like skill set is, but I still think it should at some level be shared.
Definitely.
If they have the ability to.
I'm not saying like completely ice them out all the time, but in my practice, it's going to be after I had that moment with whoever my go-to process partner is. Yeah. Then I'm going to be like, all right, this is what it is. I have a plan. I'm moving in a direction. Then it can be, what do you think about my plan? Yeah. Then it can be a tweak. If you say, oh, okay, then we can make a tweak. But I'm not going to. For me, if it's the beginning of figuring out what I'm not.
Even in that, I think it still does a lot to just be like, hey, I'm going through this. I'm about to go to this person, whatever, and just, rap with them about it or something. But because what it does is not about having this person solve your problems. It's about letting them in to see the full you. Because even if they can't solve that problem, they might be able to do some other stuff in the background that helps you while you're trying to get that done. Like just knowing what the fuck you're going through. Not knowing what buttons to push, what buttons not to push, what ways they can
push whatever button you want to push.
Not if they love you like that.
They still gonna push whatever button they choose to.
Who hurt you?
The world, man.
There are better ways, and again, not everybody is quite there yet, but I think that's still like the goal. Like, if I know that my dude is going through something, it's a financial thing, and I'm not gonna be like, quit your job, baby, I'll take care of you. But I can be like, hey, we can cut expenses somewhere, or hey, no matter what happens, I got you. If you lose your job today, we're gonna take care of things together. Like, I got your back. You know, like I can't take your load off of you, but I can at least lessen some of the burden. Let's make sure that you understand that I'm here with you. I'm here for you. If I can do anything, I got you. Or I can be on the lookout for solutions, even if it may not be the thing that you want. Like, at least you know I'm out there scouting for something. Who knows? It might work out. I know that it's definitely worked out in the past. Like, you'd be surprised the resource that a woman can be, because we are nurturers. We want to be able to care for you in the way that you need to be cared for. Like, y'all are providers, but we are here for your soul, your heart. Like, we want to be that for you, and we can do so much for you if you allow us to be there in that way. Even if we can't, still go to your homeboy, but let us know you're dealing with something, and then go talk to his ass. And guess what? That'll be the day that we know, all right, he's going through this. Let me make sure I do this. The things that I know that he likes, that'll comfort him in this moment. Even if I can't take the pain away, the frustration or the stress away, like I can be on my best behavior at the very least. You know, I understand the angle that he's coming at me from.
All right, guys. Yep, you guessed it. That's all for today, folks. You're going to have to catch the rest of this conversation next week, airing Wednesday. And trust me, it gets better. It is good, y'all. So thank you so much, as always, for rocking with me, rocking with us. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Tell your friends about me. If you listen to the podcast by audio, check us out on all the streaming platforms: Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Wherever you look for podcasts, we're there. If you are on social media, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, check me out. It's Alexis. So that's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. If that isn't confusing enough, just check the link in the description for all of my handles. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in another episode. Bye.